What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you very much for coming out for another fantastic live stream. Today, we're going to be looking at charts, looking at some views on the sense of people via the chat, recommending charts. We're going to be looking at the market overview, maybe giving some insights. Definitely looking for this bull market to be a very crazy rocket ship, lack of better words, and just really potentially continue this fun train, as they call it, all the way up to past Thanksgiving and really going and taking us to the next level. Basically, what folks call it sometimes is like the Santa Claus rally, the Christmas rally, the holiday rally. Normally, statistically speaking, this time period, end of November to December, the market does fairly well, meaning performance-wise. Thank you everyone for showing up. Kev, David, I would give a quick shout out to David for those snow options. Again, I only took a small nibble at that. Wish I went full size. Fantastic though. Alex, how you doing, Alexander? How you doing, Dave? Yeah, Fisker. Yeah, Fisker's definitely going. Fisker is, again, all these EV stocks are just really just kind of flying off the rails. I see Kev says XP EV. Yeah, that thing has, again, it's been gangbusters, rocket ships, whatever you want to name it. It's like any stock that you can really just touch and look at, it's just kind of been flying off the rails. And there was a piece on CNBC regarding on the two different markets that they're currently seeing. They're seeing the Robinhood / Wall Street Bets / speculative market, and then they're seeing the normal commodities market that kind of makes somewhat sense, but the speculative market is just being completely gangbusters and just flying off the rails. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and look at the charts here. Gonna just be starting off the day, the evening, starting with a nice S&P 500 to get everything kind of in line here and kind of give everyone on the same page. Currently, S&P 500, we're knocking on the door again on trying to hit that top around 364. Again, that's during market trading hours. With this one, we've hit it once and then twice, basically 3 times here, and looking for potentially for this to break above here and looking for SPY targets around 371 to be continue to move higher here on those potential targets. Again, the S&P 500, we've seen the trend hold up very well. We're showing this little box here, purgatory, that we were in for quite some time and kind of hit those limits, but now we're breaking out, trying to get higher. The next Fibonacci number sequence would be the 1272 extension, which would be at $371 to the upside there. So that's what we're looking for there. Some short dated initial support is going to be coming down to the 8 EMA. That's going to be around the 358 level, and then some longer dated support is going to be coming around the 350 to 353 level to kind of be in that range as well. So that's basically the summary of that. Again, if you also look at the Qs, which I can call the noodles sometimes, we have not really broken out to an all-time high, and we're still kind of in that purgatory box and looking for a potential break above that 300 level to really push us higher to get above that 303 level, which was his previous high that happened way back at the end of August, the beginning of September. And we haven't really seen those highs being tested or even look at those levels at any time in recent memory. Again, August seems like 3 years ago, right? So let's go ahead and just jump in the charts. Let's go. Kev says XPV. Of course, this one going gangbusters here. This stock, again, being around $17 to $20 just a couple weeks ago, rocketed up with all the hype train of the EV Chinese plays. broke through multiple Fibonacci numbers. We had a price target around $71. We on the Sunday live stream, we talked about it. It was basically around 50-ish. We're saying it could burst and break up to 71, meaning that anything can happen. Didn't honestly, if you had to put a percentage amount, I thought it would take longer to get there. I didn't expect it to take 2 days to get to that level, and now we're seeing some potential selling again. This Fibonacci number doesn't mean it's a complete science. It's more like a psychological level where, again, such a large move higher, people are going to be taking profits and just kind of getting out of those positions there, especially with this one. If we can get above that 71.19 and close above it with some strong base building, that would be a great move higher. Initially, we're looking for some short dated support around $61. We can come all the way down to 56, would be a little bit stronger support. If you're going to be talking significant support, we're going to be looking down substantially lower around the $44 level for XPIV. So hopefully that was helpful for you, Kev. Yes. And then Alex, yeah, PLTR. Yeah. So just posted a video on this sucker. This thing, this one is going gangbusters without a doubt. So this thing is just flying through the rails here, hitting that level around 26.17, not giving a rat's you know what about it, and just bursted right through it. With this movement, this is a substantial amount of really just oomph in the stock to really get us through that level. Potentially, looking for this to kind of maybe, a keyword maybe, to kind of level off here. But if the wants to continue to short squeeze or continue to rip higher, it has every right to do so. This is America. It can go all the way up to 36. Does it have the oomph and momentum? Maybe. But with these very large standard deviation moves here, I would be potentially a little hesitant to potentially thinking it's going to go to 36 in 2 or 3 days. That being said, anything can happen. With a Thanksgiving and holiday run, a lot of things can just go a lot higher. Yeah, without a doubt. Ryan says puts on Nikola. What's up, Ryan? Honestly, Ryan, that's a difficult one. Like, I think most people understand who have a common sense brain of like, why would you invest in this? But then there's something else that there's some dark black magic we just don't understand, Ryan, on someone might know something on why this is going up. Initially, it's not like crazy breaking out like we're seeing some of the other EV markets like the NIOs, the Teslas, these name brand ones. Nikola, of course, has kind of been under scrutiny and just the lack of really transparency, and there wasn't really the most wonderful company and getting a lot of negative press on it. Even that being said, it is potentially looking for somewhat of a consolidation here, potentially around 30. If 30 wants to break, we're going to be looking for some support around $24 to $22 to the downside there, Ryan. With that being said, it's Nikola, so anything can happen, especially with this one. Even though the company has been beaten up and not really making much revenue, it's just the stock that just continues to kind of climb there. So very strange indeed. Dave bought a single 12-17, 21-17 call. It was up to a nice, wow. Oh, he's Fisker. Fisker's FSR. Yeah, let's look at that one. So this again is a EV CarPlay. These EV SPACs have just gone completely gangbusters. So with this one, I wanted to look at this one here with the Fibonacci retracements. It broke out to, as you can see here, it broke to all-time highs today, but it kind of still closed in exactly where that range we saw previously. So these are really weird mechanics that kind of come into play here. Oh, did I just get a member? RJ, thank you, my friend, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Thank you. Just seeing that, sorry. A little slow on the draw there. With the FSR, again, this is Fisker Motors. Again, if you're not familiar with the company, it initially was a publicly traded company and actually went bankrupt. They restructured many years later, reconfig the game plan, and now it's going to be hoping to go for another at bat, and they're just going to be cruising in and trying a second shot at it. Of course, timing a little bit differently than it was a couple years ago with the EV movement. Initially, this stock is gone parabolic. It's up 33% today. After hours, it's kind of pulling back just a hair here. Initially, some support's going to be coming down is around 1667 there, Ryan. But this one is definitely something to be very careful about. And this is very much a speculative play due to the fact of its very crazy moves. It's a very early stage investment, not much revenue or any kind of capture on that. So you have to be kind of time your investments accordingly to that. Why JMI up? So that's another one where people have just literally just piled in on these different various stocks. Again, not saying it's a Robinhood or Wall Street Bets investors, but this thing has just ripped higher. Like this is absolutely insane. The quarter wasn't, it really sold off into the quarter after the quarter, but kind of had a steady pattern here. Did break below 2134 EMA, but out of nowhere, it got shot out of a cannon, and someone just angled that cannon at like an 87-degree angle, and it just took off here. Initially had some price targets around 25 to 30, shot right past those limits and continued to climb, getting up to nearly $40, which is a Fibonacci number there, and then looking for potentially testing its all-time highs around 50. That being said, this thing still looks like it has some steam to go for some reason, and it looks like it could potentially continue to try to break above 40 there. But to the downside support, we're going to be looking around 25 to even $20 to be some pretty strong support. But if you look at this on a chart here on a yearly basis, this thing has pretty astronomical moves up, left, down, and circles around. So be very careful with that. Let's see. Ryan says balls deep in Amazon. I'm sure it was balls deep in something there, Ryan. Amazon kind of just been kind of a sleeper the last couple of weeks. It just kind of been doing next to nothing. I wanted to stay basically above that 3,050, 3,078 level. And for most cases, it has. There's a couple of days it kind of broke below that. But it's just nice consolidation pattern, trying to recover, lack of better words, to get back into the limelight. Again, a lot of people, due to the vaccine news, think that Amazon's just going to magically go away. They're not going to have, no one's going to be ordered from Amazon. I don't know what the reasoning is. For whatever reason, people are just really not the most intelligent at times, which, again, that's what makes the market. With this potentially looking for, again, to hold above that 3,078, 3,050, and potentially looking for some targets in the near side of there, Ryan, is around the 3,336 to potentially that 3,500 level, which we've seen potentially test in the near third as well. You're saying Amazon 5,000. Yeah, Amazon will hit 5,000. I just don't know when, but it will. For Amazon price targets, I'm initially looking for 36.22 initially. I think that can hit by year ends if everything looks fantastic. Dave says AMD to 100 by the end of the year. Being a longer dated AMD investor, I would love that. I think it could. It's having this little bit of a an issues here on some levels around basically the $88 to $90 level has not been able to really show any oomph and to really break out here to the upside. Looking for that potentially break above 90. This thing, again, AMD has this really strange pattern where it has a large move higher, consolidates, large move higher, and then consolidates. I think we're in that consolidation period. excuse me, if we get any kind of positive news or whatever reason, this thing could really just take off to above that 94 and potentially test that $90 level. I do have targets for 99.80 and then 106. I'm not sure when those targets are going to be hit. As long as it stays above that $78 to $75 range, that is my targets for the AMD to the upside. What's up, Mr. Bear? Says, don't forget soybeans. Yeah. What up, David S? Thanks for everyone for coming out. Yeah. RJ, join the Discord and send me a message within Discord, and I can add you to the member tab, my friend. Glad I bought into the IPO like you did, Canelo, but probably is going to take profits Friday. Yeah, PLTR, that's a hard one. Again, I bought those shares right when the IPO came out just to be put in my long-term portfolio, and I kind of put a lock and key on it. I'm just like, I can't touch this kind of thing. Solo, yeah, we can look at Solo. Solo is again another company that really took off with the EV movement. With this one, huge movement higher, hit a key Fibonacci level around that $11.92. Kind of coming back a little bit here, initially looking for some support around $8.26. It could come down to $7 to even down to $6.30, and that trend will still be intact with the 21 EMA, which is a continuous upward trend on the daily chart. But it would lose kind of its day trading status card because if it starts breaking and closing below the 8 EMA on the daily side, that's what happens when things kind of fall off the charts, that they're not making new all-time highs. The volume's not really there in the sense of the day traders getting in and out of it, so it's not has that FOMO mentality. But this one, I think it could have some little bit more kick into it. It just kind of needs to kind of consolidate with the rest, a lot of the EV stocks being said there. Yeah, I think where is that? I think I should have the description here. 1 second. Discord. So there, I just pinged it in the chat there. Should be able to see that. So yeah. Your solo average is at $1.90. Holy moly guacamole. You're a happy camper. That's awesome. SPAQ. What is that? SPAQ. That's a new SPAC. Oh, Spartan. That's the one that was Fisker, right? Can you do Alibaba, please? Yeah. We can do blah blah. Ali blah blah. So with this one has been significantly beaten down due to the fact of the IPO, whatever reasons, the Chinese regulators just cut that. Really just didn't really put a good spin on the company, really kind of hurt it a little bit. Came down to the 144 EMA here. Again, we like to see that base building for at least a week, 2 weeks best, to kind of be looking at the potentially just kind of trading here a little bit. With that being said, it has been taking off here a little bit, kind of hitting that 21 EMA on the upward trend here to the daily chart here. If we start seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21 EMA, I think it could be a green light for potentially going higher and kind of seeing the negative perspective of the 260 behind us and potentially looking for 300 to 310 to the upside there. David S is making money. Nice. Awesome. I love to hear it. But Amazon is priced overpriced AF. I'm not sure what AF means. Oh, I think it means something inappropriate, doesn't it? Amazon's very expensive to touch. Yes, it's a $3,000 stock, but I think it's everything is going to be Amazon. Some way they're going to get their fingers in every cookie jar as well. PM51, Chegg. Yeah, we can look at Chegg. So again, Chegg was one that was very popular due to the fact of stay at home, people not going to school, blah 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 blah, so forth. It's kind of been bouncing around here, hitting an all-time high at basically $90 sometime in what is it, October timeframe, and haven't really seen much after it then. It's kind of coming down here with a trend here, not really getting above the 21 EMA. We would like to see this above $73 to potentially test 76, but we need that base building mentality. We're kind of get that base building mentality here, just kind of like how Alibaba was around the 144 EMA. So if it continues to hold and stays above the $70 to $69 range, that would be a great fact to potentially really stronger data support, and then potentially get that swing higher. Again, nice little move today, being up 6% there. So I hope everything is working well for you there. If that continues to move higher, some key levels we're going to be looking at as, again, testing that 76.33 level if we can get any kind of movement to the upside there. Okay, hold on. The chat is going fast today, boys. David S says PLNF, please. It's another earlier in the group. Let me just copy that because I'm not going to remember all that. Oh, this is a Planet the Weed stock. Yeah. So full disclosure, I can't physically own weed stocks. It's not a personal thing. It's due to my contract with my current company. With this one, the chart looks good. I think if you're a long-term investor in this thing could continue to climb. Like looking here on the weekly side, yeah, this looks like a pretty what they would call a very attractive chart here. Let me look here real fast. Yeah, hitting that, it's a key level at basically $3.93. If this wants to continue to climb, we're going to be looking for some price targets above and near around $6. Okay, my thing just updated now. Just scrolled all the way to the bottom. That's fun. What's up, Fish? Yeah, we can do SQ, my friend. Let's do SQ. That thing has made a very strong recovery as well. With this one, with SQ's basically rapid rocket ship move here, we're going to be looking for some targets, basically trying to hit the 220 level. 220 is going to be the near data target. If we can continue with this trend moving, again, very aggressive trend we're currently looking at. Again, it has not even touched the 5 EMA in the last week. So it's a little concerning on that fact, and that concerning in the sense of like, holy moly, guacamole, that's really moving a lot. With that move, potentially try to test that 220 initially. Some short dated support going to be coming in around the, what would that be? Around the $98 to $99 level, which is kind of falls in where the 8 EMA is on that. We look at Uber. Saw someone write Uber. Again, my chat just continues to scroll, so thank you for coming in and joining. Uber, what a crazy move in Uber. Of course, kind of in very much of a sleeper state, and then popping out of this huge parabolic move due to the elections, its earnings, really just took off. Hit a key level around $50, and now we're kind of breaking above that. If this trend wants to continue, we're going to be looking for basically the $60 level. As you can see up here, I had this little interesting comment on some price targets that some analysts on CNN gave for the 12-month high for 2020 would be around $65. Is that reachable? I don't know, about 65, because if we go to the options market, they're saying the last day of trading, they're saying a move of only $5 where we're currently sitting. So that's going to be about $10 short where the $65 limit would be coming in. But anything can happen. A bull market is a crazy bull market. And again, a bull market on steroids anything could propel it to go higher as well. Support's going to be around $50 actually initially in the short dated side, and then coming around to that $45 levels to the downside there. Let's see here. Okay, let's start. Chat's moving a little fast. You're welcome, Fish. Okay, let me scroll back up. Sounding better, thank you. I've been allergies, cold, whatever. I don't know what I have had. RJ had a freaking mad meltdown today. I was holding 18, beat down 35 calls on work, and I got 40 cents that weren't worth $18 a day until then it popped. Robinhood was glitching. Never fun. Never fun. Switch to Tastyworks. They don't glitch. Again, only reason I say Tastyworks is because that's what I use for trading options in stock. NLS. Never heard of this sucker. Kind of in a downward trend. What are you thinking on this one here, David? This is it looks like it missed on earnings, and now it's kind of downward trending here. Kind of getting somewhat of a potential base building here, a little bit sloppy here, not really kind of showing any significant movement. The 5 and 8s are trying to potentially slow down here and start trading sideways. And kind of potentially kind of level off here, but the trend is still kind of continuing lower. It's maybe a little bit of a slow bleeding, but it looks like it wants to potentially hold this pattern here. We can kind of look at a potential move here. If we didn't know anything pre-earnings, we can look at this. So yeah, around 1750 to 1740 would be a potential earlier base, and the test would be around 1980 to $20 to potentially go to the upside. Earl G, thoughts on BBY and beyond? Thanks, you're welcome. BBY, which is Best Buy, I believe. Best Buy, of course, kind of been a little sloppy here because you can see in this pattern coming down to the 55 EMA on the daily chart here, but we've seen this happen before, and it just kind of just bounces off that and rallies it. So I'm thinking what you're thinking, Earl G, is that we potentially get a bounce here, which I would potentially keep it on a very short leash for BBY here. If it starts breaking below that 113.50 to potentially to a little bit lower levels around 112 to 111.75, I would potentially want to cut it. Because again, when you make a trade or investment, normally a trade on this one would be, I have to have a plan on my targets to get out. If it goes bad, ugly, or sideways, I have to have these plans ahead of time so I don't make these mistakes there. And then Beyond, you say? BYND, Beyond Meat. Of course, this one has kind of been on a downward projections. Again, horrible quarter, not really making the revenue that they expected. Kind of holding that level around 125 here, 124, kind of slowly making its way back, then getting hit with the 21 EMA to the upside here. If we get kind of some solid consolidation around the 139 to 140 level, and really get that 5 and 8 to curl up through the 21 EMA, I think we could potentially test 150 to 152 there. What indicators do you have? I have a couple of videos that I show on indicators and things like that, but I need to update that one. So I should definitely do another video on showing the indications and things like that. Yeah, APXT is something that two people have pinged me a bit already tonight. this is a SPAC, right? And this is going to be something that's going to be potentially, it's already up like $13 in after hours. Yeah. This is definitely something that could be running coming into, since tomorrow's Thanksgiving here in the United States, the markets close, the equities markets. Potentially that $13 level is basically at 618. Looking for potentially a run to that 1360 for some overhead resistance coming in there, but that can run all the way to 1588. Again, those are just fib numbers on what we're currently looking at. Deep Rock, yeah. I did I buy that yet? I don't think I bought that yet. Do I have? I need to buy it. I actually bought Cyberpunk 2077, but that doesn't come out for until December. Definitely, I need to set up the Twitch stream, and then I will definitely play with you guys. I haven't played it yet, and I probably should do the tutorial as well. Oh, I see what you're saying, RJ. Okay, it wasn't a glitch. Okay. Hey Ken and chat, how does everyone feel about JMJ? Yeah. So JMIA is definitely a rocket ship and wants to continue going higher, but just be very careful and keeping on a short leash. Alpaca says SCI. I think I know that one. I think we just talked about that. Oh. Again, Alpaca, you live on the West Coast. I live on the East Coast, and I am not a night owl. And after streaming for maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours, I'm going to be hitting the sack, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this one, I like this. I remember you talked about this one. I like this pattern. If it stays above that $48 level, that $52 can be easily pretty much matched and try to get to that level. But that rising trend with a 21 and 34 EMA need to stay current with it, and it needs to really stay above that $48 level. Zoom says SP -2 rebounding, try buying calls. SAPs. That's not Snap, is it? What is that? SAP. Ooh, what happened there? That had a horrible earnings. Looking for the kind of rebound here. Yeah, it's maybe trying to build a base here. It's kind of been some significant support around 116 to 117 initially, because you see that base building over here as well, kind of coming through here. Looking for some levels of, again, trying to get above that 21 EMAs, which is really what's going to keep it current. And with those 5 and 8 potentially crossing through it, we can really get that move higher. Let's see here. David says NLS has been a great quarter in history that makes the Bioflex direct competitor for the Peloton. It's a Peloton competitor. I see. Roland 1, yeah, I like BBY, but I'm keeping it on a short leash. If it starts breaking and not staying above 111, 112, I have to cut it because I'm potentially looking for that support level to hold. Alpaca says, I'm ready to take, I'm going to take a giant poop. I'm guessing you're sitting on a lot of cash then. Yeah, you're right. NNDM is a component that Kathy Woods and ARK Investment has bought substantially way back when, and are still currently holding. This one has definitely been a very enormous ride. With this one, really just kind of bouncing around. With this, we're looking again on the short dated side and that initial support. It came right down to that 8 EMA today around that 490-ish level, and just bounced right off it and just took off. Very, again, aggressive moves, hinting towards that very fast, aggressive momentum stocks, and that really is what you're seeing here with NNDM there, to continue to go higher. Initial price targets would be $6. If that trend continues with the 21 and 34 continue going up, we're going to be looking for $6 to $7 price targets there. Uh, Oscar, yeah, G King. Ugh. So this one has just been a very bad taste in my mouth. Um, I've had really bad luck on this stock. With this one, huge downward move for short selling reasons, is people getting out, taking profits on this huge run up. Again, with any kind of market, it was oversold potentially. People got on a very steep discount, bounced exactly right off that 200 EMA here, and that's making it somewhat a V-shaped recovery. But for this not to fall in the category of a dead cat bounce, which is a dead cat bounces, something that went from all-time highs, bounced a little bit, hit its 50% retracement or something like that, and just kind of gives it back up and it rolls over, also called a bear trap, where it could pull over and not get above that $50 limit, or basically $50.83 to the upside, and it just kind of rolls over. If it wants to roll over, it needs to stay above that $45 price target for this trend to continue. It can bounce around that 50 to 47 for quite some time, but that 34 and 21 EMA start catching up. If that ticks better, we start moving to that $53 to $55 price target there. So again, I haven't been trading this stock well at all this year, so I'm kind of just staying away from it. Buy Tesla calls when I said yeah, I need to get a new monitor as well. Joel, what's up? What's up, Ken? What do you think about Dominion Energy just from the midterm trader's perspective? It looks like it might be some potential room to run the upside. Yeah, I think the energy sections have been really just taking off here again. I think Warren Buffett, correct me if I'm wrong, bought into this as well. I think it's why it had a large move recently. It is Dominion Energy, right, that he bought into? So probably, I think it is. Very stagnant. Really, again, some initial support. So I'll show you this little chart over here. Yeah, looking for a lot of support around $80. So $80 is going to be something that we're going to be looking at for some initial strong support for this one. We're currently trading on 79. It's within that range. With its last quarter, it did fairly well, but again, it kind of gave some back. I don't know the fundamental side of things. On a charting perspective, it needs to stay above that $79 to $80 level to continue, because you're seeing that 5 and 8 moving averages kind of aggressively pointing to the ground, and now it's kind of continued trying to roll up here. And to potentially kind of level off here. We needed these moving averages to kind of consolidate. We need a nice base building mentality to kind of go higher there. Fight or Flight FBO. You see, I just subscribed. Oh, you just subscribed? Thanks. FUBO. Boo boo. Is this some Chinese? It looks like some, yeah. So this one, just like those other Chinese stocks that we just talked about, have a massive parabolic, bat out of the cave kind of run, hitting some key fib levels, but still kind of holding those aggressive moving averages to the upside. Because we're still seeing that 5 and 8 kind of continue to play out. Again, hitting somewhat of an issue here around that $25.88 level. For this to continue, there's some initial short-dated support around $22.80, which we kind of came down, tested twice the past 2 days, but some stronger support coming into the 21 EMA. As you can see here, the past couple weeks, it's been holding the 8 EMA very well. That doesn't mean it needs to continue to do that, but just being mindful of that. Potentially trading sideways around this level up here, kind of waiting for the longer dated moving averages to potentially catch up for it to take off again or go lower. But this one you have to kind of keep on a short leash. If this one does want to break out, it needs to get above 25.88 on the daily chart there. Just keep an eye on X. It's heavy buying under 10 or 14. I've seen more upsides around 14. So X, isn't that steel? It's like US Steel or something like that. Holy moly! I was sleeping underneath a willow tree on this one. Wow. That's a crazy move there. Absolutely insane. Like, we haven't seen these moves in years. Like, this thing has just been killed. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, coming up to a very key level around $14, if that can hold and build a base up to that level, I think that $21 could be a next price target. That's a great looking chart there. Again, if you got into that early, kudos to you, my friend. That's a great trade. Yeah, Work or Slack is being bought by Salesforce. That's going to be a nice little move there as well. Can you look at APPN? Yeah, we can look at APPN. Whoa! What is this one, my friend? How to do? Whoa! I've never even heard of this. Please tell me you got some action on this, man. That is insane. Holy moly. What is this? Oh my gosh. What? That is, I can't believe this. I'm sorry. I'm flabbergasted right here. What is this thing? Upbound is a cloud computing company currently headquartered in McLean, Virginia. It's right down the street. I don't know about it. Oh my gosh. No. What? Wow. Good for you. I hope you got some action in this. Great job, man. Wow. Insane. That is a short squeeze if you've ever seen it. That is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful looking chart. That is, I'm still like, this is like art right here. This needs to be hung up on a wall. This thing is insane. Insane. Wow. Let me try. I think it's gonna hit like the 400-ish range. Yeah, look at that. It hit the $172 range. This is something key level up here. It looks like even after hours, it's still going higher. Like this is crazy. Potentially looking for this seems insane. I don't know if this has the staying power to do so. I know. Don't you hate when things fall off the radar like that, and then months later you're found back that if you just invested your $1,000 to $10,000 initial investments, you would have gone would have just retired. That is insane. That's a wow. I don't even want to look at. Does this have options? Don't. Oh, it has options. Oh God, that's disgusting. Let's look at the options here real fast. Oh, this is gonna be nasty. Oh, this is gonna be nasty. Up 1,000% today. Yeah, there was some insider trading on that one for sure. That is insane. Initially looking for that 172 to hold. Even again, we're talking about after hours of being up to 180. If it wants to continue going higher, we're going to be looking for around 261. On the short dated side, support's going to be coming in around 109. But that thing is straight parabolic, going to space kind of thing. So speaking of space, Ryan wants to look at a Virgin Galactic. So yeah, this thing has gone in this really range as well. Again, I know Ryan's been around for a minute or two. With this one, with space, I have much longer dated leaps on this, full disclosure. It's hit this $25 to $26 level twice now. what's it's second time now. If we want it to continue to hold here and go higher, we need to see to potentially get up here to the $30 level. $30 level would indicate the newer trend and things are trying to get it back into place and really to get rid of its past and really kind of create a new standard and continue to go higher and really just kind of go perform at a higher level. At $30 is going to be that next level to the upside of overhead resistance with some key targets around 35 if it gets any kind of staying power or any kind of movement behind it. With that being said, some initial support to the downside, really going to come around $21 to the downside there. David, what's up with David? Yep. David's got another great pick. He's saying Lemonade. Are you in Lemonade? Yeah, this is the one that I traded. I traded it just for a quick swing trade right around that $50, $52 level, and I traded it up to basically the 64. I then got out due to the fibs here. I'm kind of seeing that pattern to potentially play out again. If it can't get above that $70 range, it can come back down to around that $64 to $61 level. Again, that doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down. You can see that movement prior, kind of just like a little bit of aggressive move. Again, a newer IPO stock. I want to say it's under the radar. I think a lot of people do know what Lemonade does. It's kind of doing the insurance business for like millennial kind of systems. If we can get any kind of breakage above $70 range, 76 and 85 is going to be some near dated targets there. So that's going to be, it's still a good looking chart. I like it. Smack you silly says, what do you think about ANPC? My opinion on ANPC is like, okay, wow, okay, I had some kind of news today. I don't know what it does. It's probably a pharmaceutical company, but that continuous trend was already down and really needs to prove itself and build a base here around that $7 or even the 622 range to kind of get any kind of movement to the upside. Yeah, work could go higher, I think. They haven't announced on how much they've are paying for it, right? There's just some speculations going around. Dave says BDX. That sounds like a pharmaceutical company. Oh yeah, this is does the tested for the Rona. With this one, pharmaceutical stocks are not my forte, to be quite honest, Dave. Because again, you have to do a lot of reading, and I don't do a lot of reading. With this one, we're seeing that the squeeze kind of come through here. It fired short, so it needs to potentially break lower. So I can see this potentially going to holding around the 228 to even going lower to around the 225 to the downside, because the 5 and 8 moving averages are still somewhat aggressively pointing to the ground, and they haven't started curling here. We're not seeing any kind of base building here for at least a week or two, just kind of some sideways action with not some crazy red or some high volume days. So this is going to be a hard one to kind of pick from there, my friend. Brian, what's up, my friend? Yeah, we did BABA, but we can do it again because, again, that's a very heavily requested one. So Ali Blah Blah, kind of coming through here, had that IPO fail through. Looking for that potentially to hold around 260. If this is a strong base, and again, we're seeing that movement to kind of come through. We're seeing the 5 and 8 to continue to go higher above the 21 EMA. If those two lines can cross the 21 EMA, we're going to be looking for some targets above the $295 to $300 to the upside there. So, but again, on the short dated side, that support's really going to be coming around 260 to the downside there. Joel, how many years, would you have been saying you've been trading in the market? I've had my finger in the market, or also what I call the cookie jar, for before I don't know, probably since I've been interested in the market since I've been probably like 13 to 14 years old. My first stock I bought was Apple, from the help from my dad. And then successively trading in the market, I've been successful for at least the last 5 years consistently. So I'm 33, so that kind of gives you basically, I didn't take trading seriously or investing serious until the age of like 22 to 25. Really at 25, 26 is when I took it substantially serious, and it took me at least 3 to 4. I'm still learning every single day. Don't get me wrong. But blown up a couple accounts, you learn and you just keep moving on. So yeah, if that makes any sense. VQ Tech, VTQ.U equals Rona vaccine shipping containers moonshot. I guess that's the new thing. Like the FedExes, the UPSs are all have these specialized refrigerated stocks. Is it VQT? Okay. For some reason, it's not letting me the .du. What is the .du? It's not letting me pull that one up. Can you look at VFF for the 400, 200 contracts right now? Wow, you're holding a big position in that. VFF. Village Farms. What is this? Is this like a weed? Is this a marijuana stock? Definitely. So looking at some of the fibs here, let's see here. On the weekly side, I'm not sure how long your dated calls are. So you're selling 400, 1200, 400, the 12 contracts right now. We just had a squeeze fire long on the weekly side. So this could entail to potentially break above, again, it hasn't closed above that $10.09, but potentially looking for your contract. You said your contract's at the $12 strike price. That's a Fibonacci number on the weekly side, which is at $11.96, 98 cents. So if it gets any kind of movement and continue going higher, which it looks like it wants to go higher with this, again, very aggressive momentum we're seeing here, that $11, basically $12 would be somewhat out of reach there to continue going higher, with some support initially kind of coming in on the short dated side around 8.59 to around the $9 range, with if that momentum can continue to carry you higher there. Catwalk, hey Ken, good evening. Can you explain why and how some work options? I know, don't get me started. So with some of these like work options, which again, for just tuning in, so Salesforce is acquiring or going to be creating an acquisition of acquiring work, which is aka Slack. Potentially, again, it's going to create value for both companies, and just really kind of potentially go higher. With those options, again, those weekly options, I know they went. Some of them went up 100. What is this? 12,000-ish%. We have one going up 16,000%. Like, it's just crazy, right? So why does it go up? So we can bring this to the chart here. It all comes down to the numbers game. It's all math, okay? So this option was 2 cents just the other day, and it went up to $5.02, $5.20 to the upside. The reason why is because the initial options market for work, the expected move for that day over that week was basically under probably like $1.50 to $2 for the week. But of course, the stock went from 30 to 40, which is a crazy standard deviation move. So we go to this chart right here. We literally just went into another stratosphere, another galaxy here. Again, the options market was only expecting this kind of move, but again, stocks happens, things just maybe outperform, do other things, and it just goes up to a whole nother level, and it just breaks out, and it just continues going higher because the options have to price in what the stock is. So again, there is no crystal ball in the market. So people were like, it can maybe go to maybe $31 to $32 this week. But now it decided to go to 40 because it was getting acquired. And of course, that just has made it go substantially higher and just continue to really break through those key levels. Alan, what's up, my friend? You came with the $5. I appreciate that, but you didn't have to do that. Duluth has some calls 15, 16, 17, 25 with expiration of 12/18 and 2 February 19, 21 earnings on December 3rd. Your thoughts, options? Hell of a drug. Is that am I thinking of Duluth? Is that the am I thinking of this right thing? Is this what company is this? Because you've brought this one up to multiple times, right? I remember talking this way back when it was like $7. Did I buy it? No, because I'm an idiot. But wow. Wow. Nice move there. You're holding, what did you say? 17, 15, 17, 17 and a half, 20. The December 18, that's not giving yourself that much time. And that theta decay is going to be kicking in substantially because you're going to be within that like 2-ish week time frame. And it's going to be a little aggressive here soon. The February ones I like a little bit more. I know you're going to have to pay a little bit more premium. Looks like those had a nice move today. I don't see much volume in those though. Looks like there's some volume here as well on the December ones. Did you just you got these in today, or you were just getting into later on? Because this one is definitely one. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of open interest on this one. Not much in the money though. Very intriguing on that one. So on the charting side, it's trying to make a recovery here, kind of bouncing off that $13.37 level, and potentially getting like a V-shaped recovery. If we do get that, again, somewhat of an earnings run into that December 3rd that like you talked about, with that 5 and 8 potentially crossing higher, I could see it potentially because it's saying they don't have weekly options. So they're saying the 18th, they're saying basically a $3 move from now to basically 2.5 weeks from now. So $3 would kind of potentially put it up to 16.26 if everything goes well. I do like that the parabolic SAR dots have switched from the top to the bottom. That's a good sign of trend change. The RSI hasn't been really moving here, and the volume's on oscillator as well. The volume's still a little bleak here, but if it longs, so as we can see, the potentially 5 and 8 moving averages to cross through, we could see that potentially cross up to that $16 level there to the upside. With earnings, I think you know this already, Alan, it's kind of a coin flip, so it's going to be hit and miss on how they perform on that. But an earnings run is potentially in the cards due to the fact of it has had great earnings before, so people kind of react to that and potentially have that monkey brain of just thinking the same things happen over and over until it doesn't. Oh, you've been holding for a few months. Yeah, again, if you're, it's going to be hard with the December ones, but the February ones I kind of like a little bit better because, again, you're really not dealing with theta, the theta or time decay on your side that much. Catwalk says, thank you very much for the explanation. That great. Glad it works for you, my friend. JR Armida says, I have all my money in VOO. That is Vanguard Fund, right? Nothing wrong with that, my friend. Nothing wrong with that. It's always good to have, like most financial people say, hey, have your nice little chunk change of money in a basically a low cost index funding low cost index fund ETF, or basically kind of mimicking the SP 500 and so forth, to really kind of play the cards and be very diversified. If you wanted to get into the individual stuff, go right ahead. A lot of people do it. That is just something to continue to go higher. Ariel, yes, I saw your text messages. LCA and Asana. Yes. We have the #1 Asana user here, Ariel. He loves Asana, and I agree with him. This thing has today nice moves on this one. This thing is kind of came, I want to say, out of nowhere. It had somewhat of a, I like to call it a double bottom because it's always easy to look at it now. Newer IPO, it kind of had that overall understanding of a newer IPO. It had the kind of the under the radar checkbox. It just needed some volume and love, and it's getting some volume and love because, again, on its IPO date, it just kind of ran up to $30 and then just crashed down. It's been continued to sell off ever since this kind of a bottom pattern here in the earlier sets of just this last month of November, and just really kind of just traded sideways. Of course, Bren makes a good point that is like, hey, if work can get acquired, why can't Asana? It's kind of the same kind of thing. Asana is more of like a project management tool, if I recall right. And of course, teamwork, or it's not teamwork. Slack is more like intercommunications. But I think that this is something to look forth. And Ariel says he knows the company well, and I trust him on that. But some key levels to look at for Asana to hit, it's going to be around that 26.37. But if this really wants to continue with this crazy momentum, that $27 to $28 is going to be very much in the cards there as well. With earnings on the horizon, which is around the 9th of December, that we are seeing that potential move to that level here. Again, not saying a complete earnings run, but it could be on a catalyst of other potential news going out. Again, this has been somewhat of a sleeper cell. Sorry, that's the wrong word. The FBI is going to be tapping my phone lines if I say sleeper cell. A sleeper in the sense of just kind of being under the radar. And then you're saying LCA. What's LCA? Is that gambling one, Ariel? This is the gambling golden nugget one, right? Yeah, that's insane too. These SPACs are just insane here. Kind of carried a double bottom here around that $11 to $12 range, and now seeing a bounce here pretty aggressively, hitting that $17 range above. The next target's going to be around that $18.58, where we've seen it movement here around where it kind of held that previous high around 1930, and just really didn't really break out there. And this was a significant amount of resistance before. Again, that was before the vaccine news, I believe. Yeah, this is way back in September. So I think if it gets any kind of continuous movement, and I'm sure, Ariel, you'll be buying this come market hours on Friday, to potentially get to that 1958 to that 2062 level. So I think that 2062 level is actually something to excuse me, to look at, to potentially see that run up to that level. Again, that's going to be a pretty substantial move there. Yeah, the work was just insane. Alan says, I forgot to take in the election when I made my calculations. This is why I'm buying them. I see. JR says, thoughts on RBAC Liverpool x Boston stock. RB, what is this? RBAC. Oh, this is the, oh, that's interesting. Red Ball, Reed Ball acquisition? Yeah. This looks like it just kind of been a little floating around here. Let me look at this here. The low here. Coming up to this key level here around $10.58 and not really seeing any kind of significant movement above it. Again, we've hit this for the past 3 days here, which is a good sign that some aggressive movement continues to bounce above that. But looking for this to potentially consolidate here. If it does not get the amount of staying power to really break above that $10.58 to potentially test that $10.76 to the upside. With that being said, some shorter dated support is going to be coming in around $10.32 there. So interesting stock, JR. Again, I'm not really into the sports stuff. I know Liverpool is a soccer team, right? And the Boston Red Sox is the baseball team. With that movement. But yeah, that's very interesting as well to be looking at here. It doesn't look like it's a SPAC. It's just kind of a direct listing. It looks like of some kind. TRIT. Huh, what is TRIT? Is this another SPAC? Man, these guys with the SPACs, my gosh, what is this one? This is interesting. TRIT. What's the story on this one? I like this one. It looks interesting. It's kind of holding this 21 EMA, kind of trading sideways. Kind of like that pattern. Potentially trying to test higher. Let's look at some fibs here. Yeah, hit that 78.6 percentile at $12.13. Kind of coming down to the 21 EMA, potentially going to be bouncing off that 1150th level to potentially hold and start bouncing around, potentially getting its next move. If it starts breaking below 1150, some downsides going to be coming in to around the 1120 to around 1077. To the upside, if it starts breaking above 1230, we're going to be looking for that high test and then the key targets above 1364 to $14.60 to the upside there. So yeah, that's a great little, you're long at $10.63. Yeah, that's a nice little move there, my friend. Is this the one that what's his face is invest? I think I know someone who bought into this. Brian says HD. Yeah, we'll look at Home Depot. Home Depot, fantastic quarter. So I own Home Depot in my long term account. So, but yeah, with Home Depot, fantastic quarter. Kind of sold off on the news for whatever reasons because people think that it just can't continue to do it, and you have a bunch of analysts downgrading it for whatever reason. Completely idiotic on my behalf for that reason. With that being said, we're kind of coming into a key level around 270 potentially to hold. We do have a squeeze sitting up here that's kind of potentially fire short. By meaning of that, if it doesn't break above the 21 EMA here, we could see some heavy selling coming in. So if it starts breaking below that 270 level, could be coming down to 264. To the upside, we're going to be looking for some key levels above 280. And then J&J, yeah, J&J, I think J&J is still a play for some whatever reason. With that being said, cancel. Very much of a bouncy stock, kind of just trading in a range here, and just not doing next to anything really. And just really just not performing the way it should be due to the circumstances of it being somewhat of a key player in the overall delivery of the vaccine and everything. So interesting play. Initial support's going to be coming around the 140 level. We're trading around like 143-ish. Very sloppy chart. Very sloppy. Very sloppy. I'm not really a big fan right now of that. Oh, okay, that's cool. Can you check out MMDA? They are developing 3D printers for fans. Yeah, we love NNDM. So this is definitely one that is hitting the wires, aka the Wall Street Bets. All the other folks that they get their hands on it, and just continue to fly off the rails here. For this one, initial support for the short-dated side is going to be around that 8 EMA, wherever it lies. Really kind of coming in at that $4.75 to the downside, with some substantially more support coming in between $4.30 to around $4. So that range is going to be another key level of support. To the upside, some targets we're going to be looking at is above $6 to $7 to the upside in the short-dated side there. Ryan and MRN are crypto miners. I have 8 calls for expiring end of the week. Yikes. Let's see here. Riot. Wow. That's a very nice move to the upside. Again, this cryptos, anything that has the word crypto in it, just basically turned to gold overnight. Some key levels here on the Fibonacci tree here. We're looking around $7.85 to the upside. That's going to be a key level to potentially see if it can hold. If it doesn't, or hold by testing, again, has had a substantial run higher. And really aggressively to the upside again with this whole blast of crypto stuff and the phenomenon of just continue going higher here. Some support coming in here potentially around the 8 EMA with some Fibonacci support around $5.75. Some really strong dated support coming around $5, which is the 21 EMA and that 1272 extension from its previous swing there. Then MARO. Oh, yeah. This one really took off as well. I saw some crazy options activity. I just traded it for a very small fractional amount of profit here. This one, I don't even know what they do. I just saw the chart take off and I just bought some. Yeah. Tested its previous high, kind of came up to that 1272 extension. Again, these super parabolic stocks are to be super careful and mindful about. Coming down initially, support around $4.47. With that being said, that doesn't mean it has to hold that. It can break down some stronger support around the 330 level. If this trend wants to continue, you're going to be testing $6.30 to potentially testing a key level around $7.63 to the upside. So by $8 by the end of the week, for this one, they don't have an $8. That's weird. They don't have weekly calls on this, so I don't know how you're getting $8 at the end of the week for this one. It must be Riot then. Yeah, they have weekly. Okay. Just remember, there's no trading tomorrow, so it's 1 day out right there. So $8. They're saying another move of 50 cents. It's gonna be a tight one. Like they're saying 50 cents by Friday. We're basically $7, so it has to move at least substantially more. Because again, that theta decay is going to be completely aggressive. So yeah, very careful on that one. David, what stocks are you looking at, Ken? I'm looking at quite a bit. I love pins. I love some of the solar stocks, honestly. I like Snap. I actually like some ones that I'm going to be doing a video on, which is something that I don't ever think I was going to do, which is a cruise line. I like Norwegian. I'm looking at some Norwegian calls going out for my personal account to get into those. But those are kind of what I'm looking at. I'm kind of just really just protecting what I currently have and just kind of ramping up my stop losses and just kind of just watching the market because again, I think I don't know when, but we could get a potential pullback. So I just don't. I'm just ready for this. More or less just watching my Tesla just print me money. I hate to brag there. Sorry. Can you look at GE? Yes. Yes, Alan. GE key level. We broke above that $10.29. Fantastic move here. Would you have ever suspected years ago GE being a fast momentum, heavy, aggressive, parabolic stock? I would have said no, sir. But yes, today in, in November, the week November of 2020, GE is considered a parabolic, very fast moving stock here. Initial short dated support is going to be coming around at $10 flat. This thing wants to continue to go higher, honestly, Alan. I think that can test $11.60 in no time. Short dated support is going to get coming around that $10 range to potentially that $9.30 to $9.25 to the downside. Key targets to the upside we're going to be looking at is around $11.60 to around $13.26 to the upside there. So, looky loo on that one. Crypto getting killed right now, is it? Ooh, yeah, it's down 4% was again. So looking at this, if Bitcoin breaks below this level right here on the short dated side, that could cause a lot of selling because again, look at this chart of Bitcoin. This thing has this continued to climb at these very high, brisk pace levels here, and just really has outperformed the market. Like it's just been absolutely insane here. Just continue to see this movement. We are seeing a potential, not a topping pattern, because again, if you look here on the chart here, you're seeing this upward movement of the RSI, which is it's above 80, which is considered somewhat overbought on the daily side. But again, that can be overbought for quite some time because we got the initial overbought at basically 15,000, and then it ran up for another 4 or 5,000 to the upside. So again, that doesn't mean it's going to be a complete short sell. That's just the first sign on the road of potentially a slow decline or a sharp decline, elevator down. With that in mind, some key levels is going to be it's got to stay above that 18, basically 18,000. If it starts breaking below 17,600, that could be some further downside to around that basically 17,000 to the downside there. Because again, if Bitcoin goes, if you remember back in the past in 18, it goes fast. So it went from 20,000 to basically 8,000 in a matter of like a couple of weeks. So yeah, that the door is going to close really fast if that does get any kind of correction within the Bitcoin markets there. So be very careful with that one. Bitcoin can drop 30%. Yeah, it can. It definitely can. It can go up 30% too. So, yeah. So TAN, yeah, I like TAN. So TAN's the ETF for basically all the solar stocks. And David, that's a great highlight there of that one. I don't know what the winners are going to be, who's going to be the number one player, but you can get a nice addition to your portfolio and be diversified in that sense of just owning TAN. And this one looks really good. I can see it above 86 with some longer dated targets to potentially hit $100 if we continue going well. M McCain. Well, how do you determine how do you determine your strike price for a long call or put swing? It all depends on open interest. So, for example, for TAN, I don't think it has the it doesn't have the greatest open interest on things. But, so for example, let me cut this back down to like 26. I have this updated. Since I like this movement, I would buy Leap. So I would look into, again, these options are kind of wide because, again, it's market closed. So what we're looking for is basically seeing very tight markets here. So if I'm buying Leaps, theta decay is not going to be the largest concern. So I would like to buy something. I always buy options that are somewhat close to being in the money or directly in the money like that. If I'm selling options or selling premium, I of course want to buy like the 30 or sell the 30 or 40 deltas on those. I hope that makes sense of what I mean by when I start saying deltas and things like that. So strike prices always come down to, in the most basics, layman terms, is open interest, volume, and how much liquidity is in those strike prices. And if the spread in between the two options or the bid and the ask is not where a semi-truck can fit through, because these are very large spreads of $2 basically between the bid and the ask. So that's going to be a very, 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 very hard, a lot of slippage there, and if that makes sense, basically entailing that the market is very wide in there. So for example, to kind of give you something, we can look at SPY, and of course, we can type SPY. With these markets, you're going to see that it's basically within pennies. Even going out into February and further out, you're seeing the slippage not as great, and a lot of open interest, a lot of volume in all those options. So that's basically what it comes down to, because what happens is if the S hits the F and in options, you want to make sure that you have a parachute and you can get out, because if you can't, then you're basically going to be trying to play against yourself in the sense of trying to get out at a decent price. And most likely the market maker is going to step in and give you a substantially crappy price to get out to and really be down quite a substantial amount of money. Nicholas, what do you think about shorting Polymer? What is that? What's Polymer? Polymer. Was that a stock? What's the ticker? Oh, Penn. This with one N? Penn Gaming. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm not sure what this company does, but if you're short this, you're doing pretty good. That is a very nice downward move there for whatever reason. Again, not sure what this company does, but yeah, I think this could potentially go lower. Let's see here. The large moves are already kind of baked in here on shorting this. Yeah, this thing, initially some support coming around 220 and then potentially around 210 to the downside. But again, I'm not sure what this company does or why this happened, but it looks somewhat aggressive downward movement. We're just seeing the 5 and 8 cross to the 21, so that meaning that we could get some more staying power and it could continue to stay below $230. So that's what I'm looking here at the charts there. Those are my honest opinions there. Alan says PLTR will be in the dip, and I'm going to be right there to the moon. Alan, yeah, get that PLTR for sure. Brian says, what do you think about Apple? Yeah, we'll look at Apple. This thing has just been, I don't know, like, it's just been sleeping. Like, they had great news about, pens like DraftKings. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, the PENN is the DraftKings casino thing. Yeah, Penny, that's something that, yeah. Okay, just make sure you clarify that. Thank you. So with this one, with Apple, it's just been really consolidating. You can see it between that 120 to basically the 110-ish range. It's kind of been bouncing around for months now, even though I had really good news on its new ARM processing system, and really just kind of kicking x86 out the door and just really kind of just taking over that front. I think this again somewhat of a sleeper here, and we could potentially get a large move in Apple in the next coming weeks or even months. I just don't know when. I just think if once this volume dies down a little bit, I think if it starts getting around that 115 range again, I think this could pop substantially to that 120 range without a doubt. Thanks for doing Ryan and Marquand, and thanks for the insights on the calls. I'm hoping for the best for my calls tonight for tight. Yeah, so just remember, Keen, hoping is not a strategy. Just be very mindful of that. I did a lot of hoping in the past, and I lost a lot of money. Kumar, what's up, my friend? Hello, Ken. BB Alibaba 350 calls for 2021. Yeah, let's look at that. So initially, I'm going to say that's going to be a little bit aggressive, Kumar, just to be 100% honest with you. It's 51 days away. The expected move is only $33. 150 is pretty far out there. Yeah, so yeah, they're down pretty much today. You still have a lot of time on these. If we get any kind of move with Alibaba, if it just stays consolidating here around basically 277 to 280, those options are just going to be deteriorating. You really need the stock to really move higher because again, those options are so far down the options chain. Yes, they are still out 51 days, but they still need to move because again, the theta is going to really start kicking in around 45 days, and from 45 days to like 20 days to 19 days, that theta is just going to accelerate even more. So looking for the next week or two, if Alibaba needs to move higher to at least 300 or higher to kind of get you, I'm not sure when you bought them, to get into profitability and really get some nice little cha-ching or cheddar on those calls are for you, my friend. Ooh, wow. Okay, there's no legal trouble. Okay, yeah, and he sold a lot of stock. Wow. Okay, so it looks like you did your research on that for sure, and you know a lot more than I do regarding that company. Wow. Okay. Um, WB3 says INSG. I know what this one. Maybe I don't. I thought I knew this one. INSG. Okay, maybe I don't. I thought I was thinking of something else. Kind of in a downward trend here. So what I mean by downward trend is that 21 EMA, which is that big bold yellow line, is kind of slowly continuous grinding us slower here. I'm trying to get above it here. We're building a base here around that 930 to 940 range to potentially get above that $10 range. But we really need to see some substantial volume coming in here. We have a squeeze setting up here, which again, if we do get aggressive movement with a 5 and 8 higher, I think we can potentially test that $10 range or higher to potentially test that $11.36 range. To the downside, if it starts breaking below $9, we could see some further downside to $9.30 or below. So hopefully that was helpful. JJJ, what's up, my friend? ICA. Spinning for me. Not sure what that is. ICA, I spelled it right. Is this like a new SPAC or something? Shane X, what is your take on call options for DBX January 2022 at $20? So is that Dropbox? So this is one that I've been having horrible luck with as well. Kind of the same kind of projection of just kind of a downward trend. It's just been beaten up. It just got a lot of negative news on it. I know a lot of other companies can do this, whatever. Like, it just doesn't have a great story to really catch and ignite the market to really rally behind this. That being said, anything can happen. But for 2022, $20, like, that's in the cards. Maybe potentially hoping for someone to acquire it. But that is something I don't really base my investing on. Again, it is a great platform, but I wouldn't want to. I can't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Oh, and look, like Bitcoin just broke below. Now it's down 5%. So this is what we talked about on the daily chart. So now it's potentially testing that parabolic SAR dot, which is that little purple dot. So we could see a break of, there it goes. There's the break. The purple just went to the top of the chart. Now it's kind of a trending lower. So if we get a break around here, so we could get some buying coming in here and get a little bit of a spike up to the upside. Oops, wrong way. I wanted to do this. You'd be surprised how many times I put the wrong target in. David, thoughts on Tree? Possibly leap calls once they find a bottom. Tree, it looks like there it goes. It's gonna break. It's probably go to 21 EMA tomorrow. Because again, just remember the equities or markets are closed due to Thanksgiving. But we can definitely get some aggressive movement coming into the markets because again, everyone can trade Bitcoin now on every platform basically. There it goes. It just broke again. It's gonna be bouncing around a little bit. I'm not gonna turn that on for everyone because I don't want to hear everyone have that annoying ding. So let's go to Tree. Yeah, so Tree, Lending Tree. I like the premise of this. It's actually a really interesting plan here, David. Let me look on the weekly side. Yeah, just had a squeeze, fired short, potentially looking for 264 to hold. If this doesn't hold, we could potentially looking for around 250 to the downside. But again, would like to see that base building kind of level off here. Again, like I think David, when with the 5-8, the potentially start curling sideways and can curling off here, kind of have these longer dated moving averages to kind of slow down their downward projections. With that being said, it looks like it was for whatever reason, I don't know why this happened, but with leaps, looking here on the weekly side, it hasn't been able to get really above that $338 to the upside. Let me look at what leaps are looking like on this sucker. They don't got much options on this one. Okay, so I can't even really buy true leaps. I only can buy. They must be opening. Yeah, must just be getting options going on Tree. This is just crappy options right here. There is like no activity out here, nowhere. Yeah. There's literally there's one volume on puts for 190. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be a hard one to trade, especially with a very low liquidity in the options. But I'm sure you'll find a way, David. Salesforce doesn't own Dropbox, I don't think. Alan, we haven't gone over the money printer, but I have hinted at it multiple times. So yes, Tesla, the money printer for Ken and his little girl's college fund. this one is continued just going higher. And after I was trading, it's up just a little bit even more. I'm looking for, again, potentially hitting $600. I think it can hit $600 without a doubt. I think 781 is going to be the next target. I think it's going to be a little bit larger of a jump to get to that level. But I think Tesla and Elon, they can do anything they want. So really just taking the bulls by the cojones and just really just driving this market higher. And really seeing, again, the 5 and 8 moving averages to continue to really print higher here. Again, initial target's going to be around 609, Alan, to the upside. Again, you know what we always like to talk about here, potentially coming down for some support around 500. Again, that seems insane where at $75 or where it currently is. Tesla has huge fluctuations, and it just really moves to very, very high extremes. Do you ever use trend lines for examples like Bitcoin, USD, trend line, 4-hour candles, channel pattern, which is breaks, so rips? Trend lines. Trend lines are more like I just use them as like my eyes in the sense I don't physically draw trend lines because again it's somewhat skewed. Are you just going from the tips of the candles? Or are you just doing the fat of the candles? It's always a little bit different. You can draw some other various trend lines with like deviation channels. I agree with that more. Like for example, like this pattern here, these are deviation channels. So if you start getting aggressive movement up or down and starts getting into those channels, those are going to be helping you to potentially play out any kind of scenarios there. But I don't usually draw anything on there though. Phil C, is this technical analysis? Yes, it is actually. Alan says ME and me. Is that for your call for your daughter's fund? I thought you were talking about ME as a stock. ME. Okay, let's start. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. What do you think about WBA calls April? Is that WBA? That's Walgreens, right? Yeah, Walgreens. What do you think about the April $50, 55 strike price vaccine plays? I don't know about vaccine plays, but it may be like a recovery play. Sure. So April $50 calls. That's not out of the questions. They're saying a $7 move. That's a little bit out of the bell curve of 68%. I would potentially, if you want to do that, I would go a little bit higher to potentially the 42 to 45. Yes, the 50 to 55s could get a nice move if any kind of movement goes higher. But if you're really looking for some consistent profits, I would even go higher. I would be going into the money around 35 even to that to potentially pay for those. I know those look super cheap out there around 50 cents, 60 cents, and those can move fairly fast, but the probability of profit for me and my consistency trading is not there for me on that level. Not saying this can't move and they can't make money. I think looking here at the chart, I think Walgreens can definitely kick higher and they can get at least above 40 to 50 in the near term as well. Charlie says let's say CRM. So it's Salesforce. It's always funny. Like I always find these things quite entertaining. It's always when the large company that's trying to acquire the smaller company always gets killed or sells off on the good news, and the company that's getting acquired, that the small fish, always just goes up like gangbusters. With Salesforce, we've kind of seen some issues here around $264, hitting this level on the Fibonacci retracement multiple times and not being able to get above it. Of course, coming in today, being down nearly 6% due to the fact of it trying to acquire Slack or work, the ticker symbol work. With this one, we're going to be potentially looking for some initial support coming in around 237 to around the 240 range to potentially stop that selling or that bleeding within Salesforce. What's up, Trevor? I've been very busy, but thank you, my friend. Thanks for the good news. Thank you for starting 2 contracts during a plan to cover at 20K. Also, NDSQ looks like it's short. Yeah, with that, again, super mindful, again, a little bit low options trading or trading all particular this week due to the fact of Thanksgiving. With NASDAQ, we've kind of hit that wall here multiple times around that 12,200-ish range and kind of came back a little bit. I think this potentially could be the time if we do get that movement to really kick higher here and get to that 12,500 level potentially, which is basically going to be testing near or past its all-time highs to get to those levels to the upside there. So I think this could be an opportunity for NASDAQ to really outperform and go higher. I think it might be its time to shine. Again, yeah, I make a good point too there as well, Trevor. With the vaccine rollout, doesn't mean it's going to have to be all hunky dory and just be all peachy and just continue to go higher and everything's going to be just fine and dandy. Yeah, like look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down $7 now. Like look at that, whoo! And it hit that level like we talked about. I think Bitcoin could potentially, if this selling continues, it can come down to like that 16,500. But yeah, we'll see how that performs the next coming days. Again, guys, let's see how. RJ, what's up? Question: my resistance for the market on shorting holidays like Friday slower. Question: any narratives for the market on shorted holidays? Question: any? It's usually always slower, RJ. Yeah. Diamond, what do you think about IDEX? That's insane. It's actually insane. That thing has just been every single day I wake up, I'm like, how much is it up today? And I feel terrible that I missed it. With this really stock just continue to grind higher, I just don't see it's just gone parabolic. It's just gone insane. This is complete FOMO mentality. I don't know what the largest catalyst for any kind of market correction there is, Trevor. You just never know what could bring the market down. I think if you've been doing this for a little bit longer, I think that you don't need any kind of thing. It just kind of can come out of nowhere. What do you think about what do you think it will stay around 500 level if there's a dip, or do you think they'll be heading to new levels? Which is your gut feeling tell you? Do you think it will stay around 500 level? Are you talking about Tesla, Alan? Have we covered banks yet? We haven't covered banks yet. I do like BAC though. I think BAC can break out. If we get a break above 28.93, I think we can get a substantial move higher. And get a substantial move higher to around $31 in the longer run with banks. Yeah, so Tesla, Alan, I think with Tesla, I think you could see. Do I think it can stay around the $500 level? I think it could potentially just bounce around that 609. I think it wants to test 600. I think it wants to Tesla's got its own mind, and it the technical analysis can change day to day on Tesla depending on where it's opening and closing. Again, due to the volume and overall prices there. Yeah, so you can also look, Trevor, via the P-call ratio. So the P-call ratio kind of tells you what the put to call ratio is, and people are looking for slower times. Again, the put to call. So if the put to call is lower, meaning there's less people hedging something, meaning a little bit people are off kilter or a little bit too aggressive, you get a pullback. This is not always a 100% guarantee. Again, I don't think anything in the world is a 100% guaranteed, but this does kind of help when you start getting at extreme levels at 0.35 levels here. Again, we're kind of seeing it kind of very low levels here, and we potentially can get some pullbacks in the next, I don't know, couple days, weeks, I don't know, but the market is very, very frothy from my standpoint as well. Wells Fargo's is the next Lehman Brothers. That's I'm not trying to laugh. That's funny. But yeah, that was definitely there. Let's see what Bitcoin's kind of recovering here, but we'll see how that one plays out. Yeah, locked, but again, the president can only do so much with lockdowns. It's going to be coming to the local governments and the states, uh, governors and their states, districts and things like that. So it's going to be the tech. You make a very good point of the market has been frothy since 2010. We could have like a little mini correction or something like that. Again, we can look at, let's look at SPY. Oops. Look at the SPY here. We can look here on the monthly chart. So again, this goes back 20 years. This is looking at 2001, okay? Where S&P 500 was around 130. That slow grind lower due to the dot-com stuff, kind of bottom out the 200 EMA, huge run from the 03 to this previous level here, sold off due to the financial crisis, the banking crisis, and all the other flurries of issues that time frame. Came down to $67 to the SPY, okay, in 2009. That's insane, right? Then had the absolute most tremendous V-shaped recovery we've ever seen in life. Basically, from here all the way from $67 all the way up to $364 to the upside. So yeah, definitely something to look out for. Even with the pandemic and everything that we happened, it came down aggressively. Like, this is what people don't quite understand. We had a substantial amount of selling here. Like it was, we had multiple limit down days. We had the circuit breakers hit multiple times in a day, and just kind of stop the selling. Which, again, we saw that in 2008, 2009, but not to that same extent in the amount of volatility and just the amount of aggressiveness on the day-to-day basis. We saw that a little bit in 2018 with that Christmas low, due to the markets, but it hit that 50-day on the monthly chart and it's bounced right back. Kind of the same pattern here and continue going higher. Again, with S&P 500, we're looking for that 370 level to continue to take us higher. That is true. If you look at any chart and just bring it out to a certain extent, it looks like parabolic. It's very funny, very true. Tech, you know not to bring up AMD around me on those time frames. I owned thousands of shares of AMD at like $2 or $3, and I was just day trading that. AMD bubble? I don't. Crazy times. Folks, on that note, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I greatly appreciate the new subscriber, RJ, for joining the chat. Definitely hit me up on the Discord so I can add you to the members tab. And everyone else, thank you, Alan, for the $5 and everyone's ongoing support for the channel. On the way out, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, thank you for watching this fantastic live stream. I hope to see you on the next one. Again, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.